the but unfortunately it fell away, and so now we're trying to reintroduce it to Radioland. So welcome to the inaugural reintroduction of the Heritage Matters program. Today we talk to you about some upcoming events that are going to be happening during the month of February. It just so happens that this program has come at a very opportune time where we are going to be celebrating our annual History and Heritage Month. History and Heritage Month. During this month, we stage a number of activities that try to celebrate our history and our heritage, to bring to people the importance of history and culture to our society. I'm going to read to you a little information which will help to encapsulate what History and Heritage Month is about. History and Heritage Month of activities is an annual social outreach activity organized by the Brimstone Hill Fortress National Park Society, the Nevis Historical and Conservation Society, the St. Christopher National Trust, the Department of Culture, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Aging and Disabilities, the History Club of the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College, the Charles A. Halbert Public Library, the University of the West Indies Open Campus, and other interested individuals who form the History and Heritage Committee. We present a variety of activities throughout the month of February, but sometimes it spills over into March, depending on how things work out, which seek to promote greater knowledge, understanding, and appreciation of the history, heritage, and culture of our country among our citizens, thereby fostering stronger national identity and pride. The theme for this year's activities is celebrating cultural identity through farm-to-table living. This is designed to help us to focus on food security in our nation, and later on we can delve a little more into that. The History and Heritage activities, which started originally as a week of activities some years ago, probably about 20 years ago, and later expanded to a month of activities, was the brainchild of someone we all should know, the late Sir Probyn Innes, president of the Brimstone Hill Fortress National Park Society from 2005 to 2017. But he was not only the founder, he was passionate about it and actively participated in putting the activities together each year. Therefore, after his passing, the Council of Management of the Brimstone Hill Fortress National Park Society deemed it necessary to memorialize the sterling contribution of Sir Probyn to the Brimstone Hill Fortress National Park Society. Council therefore agreed on a proposal to rename the History and Heritage Primary Schools Trophy the Sir Probyn Innes Trophy, to be presented each year to the primary school who wins this social studies quiz. It was also decided by the Council to rename the annual History and Heritage Lecture the Sir Probyn Innes Memorial Lecture. Many of us can recall the several lectures and presentations on history and heritage that were presented by Sir Probyn himself, and many of us are familiar with his books and writings of that kind. This decision was taken up by the History and Heritage Committee and put into reality. And so we have those items on our list of activities for this year. And I will also give you an idea of what the program for this year looks like. So as I mentioned before, we are under the theme Celebrating Cultural Identity Through Farm-to-Table Living. And the activities which we are going to be having are on Sunday, this coming Sunday, at the Antioch Baptist Church in Limekeel, Bastia. The service starts at 9:30. We will be joining that congregation to open our month of activities. And so we want to thank Pastor Lincoln Connor and his congregation for allowing us to worship with them and to celebrate the start of this month of activities. The next event that will take place would be the launch of a library book display. I know these days people aren't into too many books and that sort of stuff. But what we're trying to do is not so much the books, although I still think that those are very important, but to introduce them to reading, whether it be online or whether it be through books. Although I love books because they're tactile. You turn the pages and you can feel the story under your fingers. You can see it before your eyes. To me, it's a lot more realistic experience. And so I love books. And we will encourage people to come to this display. Now, the display is going to be centered around a theme. So they'll be showing you books and publications and so on that are related to the theme of celebrating cultural identity through farm-to-table living. And this will be at the Charles Halbert Public Library. That's the library housed in the same building as the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College. And it takes place on Thursday, 13th February 2025. And it will go right down to the first week in March. So if you don't make it to the opening or the launch on the 13th of February, you can always visit the library anytime to look at the books and publications dealing with this subject and to broaden your horizons, increase your knowledge and your understanding of food security. Now, Miss Denise Welch and her staff at the Charles Halbert Public Library on the 13th of February will be putting on a wonderful program. They will have things like poetry reading, storytelling, maybe even dance and cultural presentations. So it's going to be an exciting affair, not just coming and looking at books and the display, but you'll be entertained by a wonderful program that they are putting together. Last year was pretty exciting. I loved it. And so this year they're going to do something similar. So we want to thank Mrs. Denise Welch and her staff at the Charles Halbert Public Library for their efforts in putting this together. And I would like to encourage everyone to come there on the 13th of February and to visit thereafter until the first week in March to see the books and information displayed about food security. It's of interest to everyone. The next event that we're going to have is called History and Heritage Hike. The History and Heritage Hike is an annual staple of the History and Heritage Month of activities. What we do on that is to take you to places that are of interest and where we have persons who are knowledgeable about the area or the activity to give you some idea of what the history behind it was and how it developed over time and what is the present situation of that particular venue or location or thing. This year, because of the theme, celebrating cultural identity through farm-to-table living, we plan to visit some farms. So for those people who have never visited a farm, this is a wonderful opportunity to come out and see exactly what takes place on a farm, what they do, the work involved, and what they produce in order to put food on your table. Farmers have a serious responsibility in our community. They're the ones responsible for feeding us. And we're not only talking about vegetable farming and fruit farming, but we're also talking about animal farming. So we're also going to visit an area where there's animals being farmed. So you'll get an idea of not only where your vegetables and fruits come from and how they are grown and cared for and processed, but also the animals. So you can see the type of animals and you'll get explanations as to what goes into raising and caring for animals that eventually end up on your table. And finally, part of our food system is, of course, fisheries. And so we will also be including a stop at somewhere where there's a fisheries business going on, so that you can see how the fishermen operate, what it takes for them to go out and catch the fish that you enjoy so much. When you go home and you get a lovely fish on your plate, where does it come from and what goes into getting it? Most people don't think of that. When you go to the restaurant and you order a nice grilled fish or whatever your preference is, fried or escovitch fish, you're enjoying something that took work and effort to put on your table. And so we'll show you those three elements of the food situation in St. Kitts and Nevis. And the people behind this are one of our collaborators, our really steadfast and constant collaborators, the St. Christopher National Trust. They will be organizing this event, and it will be led by Mrs. Etsu Bradshaw Keynes and her assistant, Miss Rodina Griffin. So they are going to put together a wonderful program and tour for you. We'll give you more details later on, so listen out on this program or elsewhere, where we will tell you the details of the hike. We'll tell you where we are going exactly. We'll tell you where the venue is. Of course, there's going to be a cost because we have to hire buses to take people there, and we'll encourage you to register early for it because we'll have to know how many buses are required so that we can have adequate transport facilities to take people on this tour. So you need to register early and let us know that you're coming so we can make all the necessary preparations to give you a wonderful time out in the field. It's going to be a Saturday morning event, and we will give you more details as time goes on. So those are the first three events. The fourth event is going to be one of the exciting ones but it's specifically for the senior citizens. You know, most of these things you find the young ones come out and enjoy themselves. But we have seniors who are, I would want to say, anxious for activities that engage them and keep them in the loop. And so every year we organize a senior citizen social, and this is usually arranged by the Ministry of Youth, Aging and Disabilities. And this year, it takes place on Sunday, the 23rd of February, starting at 3 p.m. at the usual venue, which is Matterson House. That's the Brimstone office, as we call it, on Taylor's Range. It's by invitation only. So seniors will be getting their invitations and their tickets to attend. So only those who have invitations and tickets can attend. But I'll tell you something. Every year, this event is really looked forward to by the seniors, because we don't just simply bring them to a venue and tell them things and then they go home. We engage them. So there's a package of entertainment. We're going to have folklore there. This year we are promising, and with the help of the Ministry of Culture, we are going to have a group of clowns there to entertain them. And of course, clowns can't be backed up by anything but either a clown band or a string band. And I've noticed over the years that the seniors love the string band. They love the string band. And you'll see them when the string band starts to play, and many of them get up out of their seats and they start to put on their dances and dance around and really show that they are having a wonderful time. Okay, so we're going to have that, and we're going to have Mr. Crichton Pension, who is an entertainer extraordinaire. And the seniors also love him because he goes back into old time days for them. You know, he brings to the fore and back to their memories all the things they did as youths and as people growing up and as adults and he brings that alive in them, and they are invited even to make their own little input into what they used to do then and how they used to do it. And so we're having that on the 23rd of February at 3 p.m. at Madison House. And so we wish to thank the people who help us with this usually, is the Ministry of Youth, Aging and Disabilities, and that is led by Mrs. Janelle Lewis, and her assistants who work closely with us, Ms. Kishma Archibald and Ms. Lindsay Adore. These persons work assiduously to put this program together for us every year, and the ministry also sponsors the event so that it is definitely a success. So we look forward to it again this year, and the seniors, I think, even look forward to it more. So those are some of the events. What I will do now is I'll pause for a cause to acknowledge our sponsors for this program. See you when we get back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN FM.
Oh, I've got this feeling to high-five the sun, dance in the rain, and have my scoop of fun. I'm on my way to flavor my day with something new, and I've got room for you. Let loose and live a little, get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with creamery novelties of life, and live a little, get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with creamery novelties.
Enjoy Creamy Novelties Ice Cream, distributed by Rams Trading. Live a little.
What has you so happy? My home internet just got upgraded and I didn't even have to pay for it. What? Which network you have? Flow. Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price. Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch? No catch, my friend. 300 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
Building supplies, electrical supplies, furniture, appliances, carpets and tiles. It's the company where you can get it all. All at TDC, home and building depot. From lawn and garden, the TVs and stereos. All at TDC, home and building depot. Come on down, get what you're looking for. It's all at TDC, home and building depot.
Okay, we're back. And so we just went through the first part of the program of the History and Heritage Month of activities for 2025 under the theme Celebrating Cultural Identity Through Farm to Table Living. Let me continue with the other events. The next event we're going to be staging will be a cultural fair and exhibition. This is done every year by of course, we want to include the youths. We don't leave the youths out. We have the senior citizens, so we also look after the youth. And we have two programs specifically for the youth. The first is the Cultural Fair and Exhibition, which will be staged by the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College History Club, led by Miss Sheila Morris, a teacher there. So on Wednesday, the 26th of February, starting at 10 a.m. at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College, they will be putting together a cultural fair and exhibition. Now, let me explain what takes place at that. They put on a wonderful display of artifacts from the past, things that I think a lot of the youths and even some of the adults today are unfamiliar with. Things like the old types of stoves that used to be used, items of dress, what an old telephone looks like. Most of the youngsters nowadays only know what a cell phone looks like. And there are items from Mr. Bradshaw's time, the actual hat that Mr. Bradshaw wore. He used to like top hats. Things that we use around the house, the stuff that we used to cook on, the stuff that we used to use in the kitchen and other parts of the house. So it's going to be a wonderful display of all of these artifacts, like a museum. Okay? And in addition to that, they have wonderful food. And especially this year with the theme of celebrating cultural identity through farm-to-table living, it will be interesting to see what they produce this year, because you're going to see the kind of foods that, of course, I know most of you know what the national dish is like. Stuff like that will be there. There'll be ground provision, there'll be fish, there'll be all the things that you will enjoy having as a culinary delight. So come on out and attend this fair. As I said, it's Wednesday, 26 February 2025 at 10 a.m. at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College. And again, we want to thank Ms. Sheila Morris and her history club, the CFBC History Club, for putting this together. And we would, of course, like for the public to attend. The other thing for youth is the primary schools quiz. Here we go at, CFBC is the older youth. The primary schools quiz targets the younger part of the school community, the primary schools. And every year we have a quiz where we quiz them on things from their social studies program. Subheadings like geography, history, culture, politics being things like, who's the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, that sort of stuff. And the national symbols and all the other things that children and adults need to know, because these are things that are around us and affecting us on a daily basis. So they're things that we need to know. We used to call it general knowledge. And so on the 27th of February, we will be having the primary schools quiz finals. But leading up to the finals will be a series of elimination events. And those events will take place on the 27th, on the 12th of February, there'll be an elimination. On the 19th of February will be the semifinals, and the finals will take place on the 27th of February. So this is the finals usually are open to the public. So you can come to the Anglican Church Hall on Victoria Road on the 27th of February and witness the schools, the finals, the final teams going at it for the coveted Sir Probin Innis Memorial Trophy. So that is exciting, watching the kids display their knowledge and battling against each other to see who will be the champion school. We have a trophy called the Sir Probin Innis Trophy, and that trophy is handed down from school to school, whoever wins it each year. and their name, the school name, is inscribed on it. There are also trophies for the children, so they get winners' trophies, school trophy, and participation trophies, and so on. So it's an exciting affair to come and watch the youngsters participate and to see how much they know. You'll be surprised at how much these young kids know. And then to cap it all off, we're going to have a signature event called the Sir Probin Innis Memorial Lecture. This is usually a lecture based on the theme, and this year celebrating cultural identity through farm-to-table living. It will be staged. We don't have the venue sewn up yet, but we are hoping to have it at the Sir Cecil Jacobs Auditorium at the ECCB. And so persons can come and attend this lecture. And we have had the agreement of Mr. Danny Atherton. Mr. Atherton is a very avid farmer. He is based in Nevis, but he has all the up-to-date farming knowledge, tools, and systems. For example, even hydroponics he does there. So he will come and talk to us about farm-to-table living and our cultural identity in that regard. And he has a vast amount of knowledge about farming and about how it affects us. Not only tummies, but he will also be addressing the financial and economic spin-offs of agriculture and how it affects us as a nation. So put that date on your calendar also, the 27th of February. It's a Thursday. And I would want to say that in Nevis also, these events, we will have some events in Nevis, but this event in particular will be staged on the 26th of February in Nevis. So he will do a lecture in Nevis and then come over to St. Kitts and do it over here. So we want to thank Mr. Danny Atherton for agreeing to be our lecturer, and also to thank the people who put it on for us every year, the UWI Global Campus, formerly known as the UWI Open Campus, or University of the West Indies Open Campus, now called the University of the West Indies Global Campus. And the person leading the charge there is Mrs. Gail Gray Phillip. And so we want to thank them very much for their collaboration with us every year, and they do a wonderful job of putting this together. What I didn't mention when I spoke of the primary schools quiz was the people involved there. The Ministry of Education, of course. Without them, we couldn't do it. And so we want to thank the CEO, Mr. Francil Morris. He's the Chief Education Officer, for helping us to put this together, ably assisted by Mrs. Angela Matthew. And so they put this together for us every year. So that's the program of activities. And I look forward to everyone participating and showing their support during this month of activities. Just in case anyone wants to call and ask a question or make an input, the numbers to call are 466-0989, 662-0989, and if you're calling from overseas, 718-285-6984, or 305-921-4619. I'll repeat those again. 466-0989, 662-0989, 718-285-6984, and 305-921-4619. And we'll take a break now to honor our sponsors. See you.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
What has you so happy? My home internet just got upgraded and I didn't even have to pay for it. What? Which network you have? Flow. Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price.
Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch?
No catch, my friend. 300 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
Need to get your goods to St. Kitts and Nevis? Look no further. TDC Shipping has you covered with reliable cargo solutions by land, air, and sea. Whether it's a package from across the world or a large shipment of goods, TDC Shipping makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free. And with our airbox service, ordering from your favorite online stores just got even easier. Ship straight to your mailbox and let TDC Shipping handle the rest. Fast, secure, and even to your door. Visit us today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Park or Penny's Industrial Site, or call 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis. TDC Shipping, where reliable service meets unbeatable convenience. TDC, together we succeed.
Okay, welcome back. Thanks to our sponsors. And now remember I gave the numbers for calling in, so feel free to call. Anyone would like to comment on anything that we have said before, and especially on the theme, celebrating cultural identity through farm-to-table living. If I may just make some comments on that. One of the things, or I should say, one of the main reasons why we chose this as a theme is to highlight the importance of food security for the nation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Food security, very vital. I'm sure most of you know that we seem to import most of our food. The supermarkets are just filled with imported foods, and more, the percentage of locally supplied food is dwindling. That's my observation. I recall when, many years ago, even when sugar was part of our agricultural base, I do something called hashing. I'm sure many of you know about it, where we run all over the island, through the bush, through the mountains, through the rivers, through the guts, the beaches, and all of the villages, etc., all around the island. Our theme, our motto is, we run the island. a kind of pun, but it means that we run all over the island. Okay, and so if you join the hash group, you'll find yourself getting to know the island even better. And so as a result of that, I have observed over the years that the spaces for agriculture have been disappearing. We used to be able to run through many farms in the hillsides and even on the lower slopes. When we run through those now, the land is lying fallow, not being used at all, taken over by bush and wild trees and so on and so on. But one of the things that I thought, or I think we all expected when sugar was discontinued, was that that land would be turned into useful, arable agricultural land. But it appears as though there is a movement by our people away from trying to produce their own food. As a result, our food import bill is rising. And so I think we need to examine this closely and to find out what can be done about that, and whether we think it's the way to go or whether we think it's something that we should be concerned about. There are times when, and a good example would be, remember when we had the COVID epidemic, even imports were restricted, things coming in. What if we had a situation where no imports can come into the island? How would we eat? How would we survive? And this is where our local produce and our local food production is important. We should be able to sustain ourselves from our local production. And as in some places, even have enough to export. So it's something I think we need to look at very closely. Our food security, what do we produce and how do we produce it? We have many hotels here in St. Kitts, but I'm sure that they supply their kitchens from imported foods rather than from local foods. But I'm sure they would prefer to do so from local produce. We tend to boast that the local produce that we have here is more organic, is the term that we use, which tries to suggest that we use not as much of the chemicals and the, as it were, artificial means of production as happens in many of the nations and countries that we import food from. And so it's deemed as healthier and more beneficial to our nutrition and sustenance. So I would like to see some effort being placed there. I think that the Ministry of Agriculture and the Minister of Agriculture is aware of this and probably and hopefully working to ensure that St. Kitts reaches. I know one of the big words that the current government uses is sustainable. Sustainable. Everything is sustainable. And so I'm hoping that there is meaning to that word, especially in terms of food security. We have to make it sustainable, that we can produce and sustain ourselves without having to rely so heavily on imports. So if you have any thoughts on that, feel free to call in. The numbers 466 0989 662 0989 718 285 6984 305 921 4619. Call in and let us know your thoughts on food security and particularly on the theme celebrating cultural identity through farm-to-table living. While we're on that, well, I should say, let me divert a little from that until we get some calls. We recently, I think what we'll do is take a small break and then we'll come back to talk about an anniversary which Brimstone Hill celebrated recently. So we will, there's a call coming through. Hello, good day, caller. Oh, good day,
Hi,
caller.
good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me well?
I can hear you.
I'm trying out a new technology here, earpiece, but albeit, yes. I want to applaud you for coming on the radio and introducing to the public about heritage that we have, and especially what sustains us in terms of food. a note just now when you spoke about our lands that there's been, as we can see, I do tours, I go to the Brimstone Hill Fortress, and I look over and where it used to be sugarcane or where it used to be peasant farming, they aren't no more of that practice. So I can attest to what you're trying to allude. I noticed the other day, about 4 or 5 months ago, some banana plants, some succulents, was sourced. I allowed that initiative, but I don't know what the survival rate was because they was very young and tender. But I'm always a stickler for utilizing the verges, the guts that we have so much of. Banana, we think about the demise of our coconut palms and how can we resuscitate the coconut palms. Because there's a glut on the market for coconut water. And you alluded to the restaurants and the hotels, and I'm sure they will really like to source fresher fruits and vegetables. I go along that line to say that we need to give it a more concerted effort, all and sundry. And with you trying to revitalize this program or make it an annual event. I know you have a calendar of events starting from the church service on Sunday or maybe the following Sunday.
This coming Sunday.
Yes. How could we also introduce a day, a tree planting day, right across the nation, so that we who seem like we have forgotten where our food came from, kudos to the hard farming and working farmers, we will get ourselves familiar with putting our hands in the soil for one day at least, planting a tree, and make this a national event so that we can see more fruit trees, because there is a takeaway, there's a move away from that back-breaking farming. We're not going to stay young forever. And we're not encouraging now the youngsters to get into it. Whatever incentive might be derived from the farmers, we should encourage them, because they're too going to get old one of these days and exit. And how can we pass the baton down to the next generation? In a vacuum, I say all of that to say that we need to initiate a tree planting day, make it a calendar event, and we will get better results. We will get better results. When I do tours and I drive to St. Paul's or Utley's, and I look down in the verge, the guts, I say we can replicate those two areas around the many guts.
Mm-hmm.
I am listening. I know you keeping with the team, and I just want to put my cents in. I myself, in 2013, I planted some moringa trees on when you pass, like the fire station going towards Frigate Bay, where they have called it the agro strip. And it was a result of giving back to my community. I was inspired by artists like Erica Frankel,
What is your name?
Nature Kingdom. Those were the guys.
Say again?
So I am not just in isolation. But I want to encourage others to do it too. I want to see our verges, our gut side with food trees, all sorts of food trees. So that when we ourselves and our visitors come to our shores, we can introduce them to fresh coconuts, fresh apples, mangoes, of course we have, and soursop and others.
Okay.
I continue to listen. Thanks for this.
Okay, great. Now, thank you, caller. Thank you for that very significant input. And I want to therefore address a number of things that you spoke of. I noticed you mentioned coconut palms. Now, many of you will recall, some of the older folks will recall, that there were 2 areas in St. Kitts where coconut trees were in abundance. The Connery area was one, and the Gibbons pasture area near to Depp Bay. Acres and acres of coconut trees occupied that area for many, many years. And coconuts were used in those days not just for the water and the meat, but also some of the confectionery which we produced, called things like sugar cake, and even to make cookies and cakes and so on. Also, the byproducts from coconut. The shell was used to make ornaments and souvenirs and bowls and stuff like that. And the husk, we call it copra, was used to make things like mats and stuffings for mattress and different things. So the coconut was a very useful product that had lots of uses, a very versatile product. I think that the demise of the coconut came with a disease which knocked out a lot of the local stock, called lethal yellowing some years ago. But what I realized, hold on, okay, caller, all right, go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Not too bad. And yourself?
Oh, giving God thanks to be alive to hear you.
Okay. Good to hear you too.
Thank God I made it. I made it to January.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot to give God thanks for, you know.
Well, some didn't.
Put on so that you're 10 gone, 12 gone, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
what's your thoughts today?
Yeah, but I'm a lover of history. I always did. You pull it down and you pull out the pan. So, my granddaughter. I'll call her back.
Okay. All right. So I was saying that the coconut trees which occupied Gibbons pasture and Connery were killed off by this disease, a debilitating disease that killed a lot of the coconut trees. But my concern was, yes, these things happen, but my concern is, in my opinion and from my observation, there was no concerted effort to replant these coconut trees and bring back coconuts to our nation. However, and even in Nevis, Pinny's Beach, when you look at postcards of Pinny's Beach from the 70s and 80s and even the 90s, you'd see this literally forest of coconut trees lining the beach, Pinny's Beach. It was a beautiful sight. But now they're not there. And I don't think there was an effort made to really bring back. If someone knows that there was an effort, I haven't seen it, but you're going to let me know. There was no effort made to bring back these coconuts. But guess what? We have now discovered the popularity of immediately available coconut water by the roadsides. Everyone stops by the vendors on the roadsides to buy coconuts. But do you know where those coconuts come from? Those coconuts come in via boats that come from the Windward Islands, Dominica, St. Vincent, St. Lucia. That's where our coconuts that you eat by the roadside come from. Yes, they are not produced in St. Kitts. Now think of what could happen if we produce those coconuts and kept our money in St. Kitts. We're sending our money to other countries to produce coconuts to bring to St. Kitts. If we had rejuvenated our coconut tree stock, we could be supplying our vendors with coconuts from St. Kitts. And then what I noticed too, maybe they don't have the land, maybe they haven't found ways to do it, maybe agriculture hasn't done so, is yes, they're bringing all these coconuts, but does anyone think that of every 100 coconuts that you bring in and sell, why not plant one? You know, one tree could give you a constant supply of coconuts. And if you, out of every 100 you plant, we'll have thousands of coconut trees based on the amount of coconuts that have been processed and sold in St. Kitts thus far. So we need to bring back the coconuts. And I agree with the caller before about that coconut. I'm going to talk a little bit about some after this call.
Yes, I am back.
Aha.
I'm sorry about that, eh?
No problem.
Now, when you're familiar with Buckley's Estate?
Sort of.
All right. When you look up in the hills above Olives, you know where Olives is, right?
Yes.
They used to have a coconut thing up there, you know. My
That is
father
correct.
used to tie cattle between them.
I know it, yeah, I know it. Uh-huh.
But what we have is people encroaching into the forest, because all of this is part of the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Housing is encroaching to me. You know, there was a coconut disease, then they got some, I think they never planted. So we actually sitting back and watching what our history be eroded.
Our history, our culture, and our food security. We're watching it going down the drain.
Now look at Mansiport. Mammy Apple, for those who like the name.
Yeah.
Mansiport. My father used to have a ground. We just said mountain ground, even though it was in the gut.
Yeah.
Sandy gut.
Mm-hmm.
It's about Shadwell here. Now, if you go right up, I think let's say come by Milligan, there were a lot of Mansiport trees. Big like big breadfruit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When you go down by the market, you see some half-dead looking things that come from Dominica, and they're putting them in the scale.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who's in charge of the forestry division? They need to go and see, because I'm sure they might have shoots up there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all of the Mansiport and things that we used to get. And even avocados.
Mm-hmm.
Avocados were grown mainly in the mountain guts.
Yes, there was a literally an avocado farm in the Wingfield
But I know that one,
forest.
but I mean, since I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
When pear time, we say when pear time, you go mountain and you look pear in the guts.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't follow up, or we don't try to use modern thing, because sometimes they might get a leaf disease. Or we just watch it. We watch it until it kills the plants.
Okay, but what you think is responsible for that? Caller, hold on the line for now. We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
All right.
Oh, I've got this feeling to high-five the sun, dance in the rain, and have my scoop of fun. I'm on my way to flavor my day with something new, and I've got room for you. Let loose and live a little, get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with creamery novelties of life, and live a little, get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with creamery novelties.
Enjoy Creamy Novelties Ice Cream, distributed by Rams Trading. Live a little.
What has you so happy? My home internet just got upgraded and I didn't even have to pay for it. What?
Which network you have?
Flow. Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price.
Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch?
No catch, my friend. 300 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
It's
It's the sale you've been waiting for. Happening now. Discounts galore at your favorite Hosford store. Hosford's Furniture and Appliances, Ashley's Furniture Home Store, Hosford's Building and Nevis Centers, and Hosford's Auto Parts and Accessories. Get ready for discounts galore. Store discounts, big discounts, small discounts, VAT discounts, and more. We're slashing prices with at least 4% VAT off and up to 20% off store-wide on furniture, appliances, auto parts, building materials, and hardware, and so much more. Discounts galore across all Hosford stores. And that's not all. Customer discounts and even Value Club member savings mean the deals just keep getting better. Whether you're upgrading your home, tackling your next project, or fixing your ride, Hosford's has you covered. Take advantage of the discounts galore at all Hosford stores today. At Hosford's Furniture and Appliances, Ashley's Furniture Home Store, Hosford's Building and Nevis Centers, and Hosford's Auto Parts and Accessories. Hurry in! These offers won't last long. Don't miss out on the biggest savings of the year. Visit any Hosford store now and start saving with discounts galore in every store. Big deals, big savings, and more. Terms and conditions apply.
Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you. Join me, Percival Hanley, this coming Friday and every other Friday at 10 a.m. to 12 noon for Heritage Matters on Win Media SKN 98.9. Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you. Okay, we're back after that commercial break. I hope our caller is still on the line.
I am still here.
Okay, continue.
So I was saying, we just go along. Now I was listening to the radio out of the wind with one of them, and they were talking about, I think it's in St. Lucia. There's now present some kind of mold affecting the banana plants. And they were saying they had to get some kind of oil to put on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they said either St. Vincent or St. Lucia. They had to send and get some from the other islands.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to myself, we have all these thousands to put out. Have we begun to examine them to see? So we're talking about?
Yes. In fact, if I may interject there, we have a problem, I think, that we are sometimes importing plants and fruits, like bananas and other things that come in clumps and clusters. But I don't know if we examine them close enough. And this is one of the reasons why the Agriculture Department have a section at, let's say, the customs to ensure that any plant-based material coming in is closely examined. But I think some of the things that we have been importing recently, especially for hotel development and landscaping, are ornamental trees.
Yes.
And we are bringing in invasive species in those. I don't know if many of you remember that up to maybe about, I'll say, maybe 15 to 20 years ago, you never ever heard a wood slave make a sound in a house. Right? But all of a sudden, you get these creatures that are suddenly making this lot of noise. Okay?
Where they come from,
you hear this kind of, right?
I'm disturbing people.
That's a new species of gecko, we can call them, what we call wood slave, that I'm sure was brought in some sort of plants that came in with them. I also noticed at the hotel in St. Kitts, let's leave it like that, that there I saw a frog hopping about, a species of frog that is not native to St. Kitts, and it's actually what is called a Cuban frog. That had to be brought in by imported plants also.
All right, now, yeah, there's a quarantine thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's look at, we have a veterinary school. Are they given for our search? Can they bring in the eggs there?
Yeah, eggs can come in, especially things like frogs. You could have the eggs in a part of the plant where they lay them, and then they hatch and once they're introduced into their habitat.
So We need to be a little more proactive. Because from the time I heard them saying they don't have any, or they can't get now on the oil, they have to beg some from either St. Vincent or St. Vincent Bay from St. Lucia. I said we're supposed to start right away to examine these things we have to plant. How do we propagating it? Because we get the same amount. It's a lot of rain, eh?
Yeah.
Rain
I
and
understand
something small.
that some years ago there was
A whole container.
either a person or a group who had made, I think I know who it is, a person who is into agriculture, and after recognizing the demise of the coconut trees due to that lethal yellowing disease, arranged to have coconut seedlings brought in from another island. I think it was from Dominica. Thousands of seedlings.
And they died in the container.
But apparently, I don't know what happened, but none were planted.
That's what I'm telling you, we don't think.
You see?
I remember seeing the yellow in leaf was in Jamaica.
If that happened at that time, by now we'd have mature bearing coconut trees from that shipment. But we have not done anything to take care of that.
But I mean, seriously, now my last thing is you ever hear about the Negro Church?
Coconut?
On Buckley's Estate?
Well, we have coconuts, yes, but they're not in the plentiful supply that would provide for commercial activity. So you have coconut trees. The one you talked about up in Buckley's.
Yeah,
there are a few there. Yeah, and then
and people put in houses.
I have done hikes in other areas, and you find some little clumps of coconut trees here and there, but not sufficient to really, it's a place where maybe you can go, or maybe a couple of people go. For example, we did a hike one time. I can't remember the area it was, and on our way down, I think it was to Lodge Mountain. When we were coming down, we passed them on the way up, but we decided we'll deal with them when we came down. And I personally climbed the tree and picked coconuts for the group. Okay, and we enjoyed some natural coconuts, in the environment from the trees, which is you can't.
When you have this history thing, maybe I could have this walk to look at the farmer crops area.
Farmer what area?
Yeah, even from Bastille, West Farm, Mr. God does a coconut tree.
Where who?
West Farm.
West Farm. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a village. Wait a minute, give it that day, Just where West Farm Great House is.
Yes.
West Farm.
Yeah.
They're on the northern side. There was a village up there. The name slipped me now. Because my father used to carry the cattle up there.
So it's not related to Boyd's?
No,
okay.
Near to West Farm.
Okay.
You have West Farm, where the Abbot, where the Abbot is.
I know just after you pass the big
side
wall
by the gut,
for the West
or the
Farm
river,
Estate, or
whatever.
the side for the gut, okay.
On the southern side, that is Abbot. And on the other side is where the manager used to live.
Okay.
And there was a village. Man, I lady alive. She thinks that she was the last one. There was a housing settlement up there.
Okay.
Pasture land. A lot of the pasture land again. So, our history, McKinley's on pasture land. You know that?
Yeah.
When I was young, right, we used to call up the river. You ever hear the name of the river?
No, I never heard the name. But I know that coming
the
down
gut-
on
the
both
gut to
sides
the
of
west.
Mattingly, there are ravines which are guts.
Well, we used to call this one the river.
Which one? The one to the east or the one to the
All kind
west?
of species of mangoes. Round ball mango, Marco mango, long salt. And you actually used to see the river coming down in there. It was called the river.
Okay. And I'm sure that nourished and kept them well watered.
Yeah, and these are a lot of long vines. And the brave ones would swing across from one end to the other.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, I said, what happened?
I sometimes engage my hikers when I take people hiking to swing from the lianas in the forest and do a little Tarzan act.
It was like a big joke when I was growing up. And that goes right up, maybe into the Buckley's Mountain area.
Yeah.
Maybe you could ask, oh gosh, the name always hangs on my tongue. maybe 1 or 2 houses might be up there. The foundation or whatever. Just to the east, it was a village. So when I look at this, we're talking agriculture and all of the grazing land and whatever. Your plum houses on them, and they got other less fertile land that we don't put houses on. So we're losing, you know.
Well, we got to find a way to
small,
bring it back.
We took a mountain, eh? It was a vacation. And all up in Buckles Mountain, you hear this Sybil, you ever heard of some Sybil Sweet?
Yes, I've heard the name. I can't remember what it referred to, but...
It is an orange, it's a sour orange, which is orange inside and not sour. So they call it Sybil Sweet.
Oh, so that's not what we call sour orange?
No.
Okay.
They look like sour orange, but they're half sweet.
Okay.
Those trees are up in the same Buckles.
They're big or they're small?
They're big, they look just like...
Just like an orange?
Sour and orange, but they're not so rough on the outside.
Oh, okay.
Call them Sybil Sweet.
Okay.
My father used to carry something into the mountain of Maho. You know about Maho too, right?
Yes.
All of those up at Alvis, you know. Some people that don't even know about them. They're strong. You tie up your bag of this and your whatever.
Yeah, I used to make
Maho
like a
trees
kind
are
of rope out of the bark. And when you go in the mountain to get wood to come down to do various things, you tie your bunch with the maho strings.
I tell you, I used to enjoy when my father would take me into the forest to look Sybil Sweet, and there was trumpet bush.
Yeah, I still get requests from some of the oldsters when I'm going hiking in the bush. Bring me some trumpet bush.
Yeah, and
because they still use them medicinally.
When you're going up in this same Buckles area, you could see them from below. One side white and the other side green, and rustling in.
As a matter of fact, just for the interest of those who are listening otherwise, the trumpet bush is a tree that has, as you just mentioned, green on the top side of the leaf, but white underneath. And so when the wind blows kind of strong, the leaf turns up, exposing the white part of the tree. And so the oldsters used to use that as an indication of bad weather approaching. So when you look up in the mountain and you see all these patches of white appearing in the mountain that aren't there normally, you see white, and then sometimes you see just all of a sudden like it shut off, like somebody turn a switch, and then suddenly you see it turn on again. That's when the wind picks up and when the wind calms down. Okay? Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why they call them trumpet bush, because they're trumpeting the arrival of bad weather. All right?
And they use them for when you got cold.
So you see, and people use them for colds, but I understand that women find comfort drinking the tea of that when they're having menstrual cramps and that sort of thing.
Oh, I never know that. I don't know when cold season. My father would bring them, and herringbone. You ever hear herringbone?
I've heard of it, but I'm not sure what it is.
They grow on the ground. How to describe them? A man does bring some for me. What they would say that they would put it in the milk when they cook them, when they have milk. So it gives it a nice kind of vanilla kind of
nice flavor.
You know about horse rub down?
I've heard of it, yeah. I know it. I know the plant too, yeah.
Right, all of those, you find them in the cane field, on the edges of the cane fields. That one is good for the cold. All of these fluid have. You want some good horse rub down?
You want some good horse rub? Nice. Okay. Let me break now. I don't know if you want to finish your call or if you want to hold on.
No,
we're going to break for a commercial.
Hang up.
Okay, so we'll break now for commercials.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Hey! Here's your Hostel's Value Month Idea Specials! Roaming! January 22 to February 5th! Now, our Value Club Blue Tag Specials! Essential Everyday Peanuts, $12.99. General Mills Cereals, $13.99. Essential everyday shredded and chunk cheese, $7.99. Dipple pancake mix, $11.99. Quaker Captain Crunch cereals, $13.79. Tato chips, $14.99. And now, our very low weekly value deals. Old Orchard 100% apple juice cocktails, $9.99. Essential everyday gelatins, $4.99. Irish Spring bar soap, $11.99. The Arm & Hammer toothpaste, $14.99. Essential everyday dish detergent, $8.99. Extra detergent, $12.99. Shop smart, shop Value Mart.
Okay, and now we're back again. Now, one of the things one of our callers also talked about was the moringa trees. And I just want to make a little correction here, because many people, when they're referring to that tree, they say meringue. It's not meringue. The word is moringa. Moringa. M-O-R-I-N-G-A. Moringa tree. Now, the moringa tree is a very interesting tree. And the caller said that they were instrumental in planting the trees across Pond Road, where the fruit market is located now, and the fruit and vegetable market across there. A very popular place for people to stop and pick up their fruits and vegetables. The interesting thing about that tree is that it has been referred to as like a sort of panacea, a tree of life, a very nutritious tree. That tree is reputed to have some of the highest protein content of most fruits or vegetables or even nuts and so on. So a lot of people like to use that bush to boost up their protein intake. Plus, it is filled with vitamins of all types. Lots of different vitamins, essential vitamins for everyday use. And so the moringa tree has become a very important staple in many people's diet and nutrition. And so having the moringa tree around is very good for our local consumption. So we want to thank that person for being involved with the planting of those trees, and any others who have planted such trees. And he also talked about a tree planting day, recommending a tree planting day. That is something that we can organize, but we need somebody to direct that. I believe that there's an organization called the SCNCF. I'm not sure if many of you know about it. It's the St. Christopher and Nevis Conservation Fund. And they have been instrumental in trying to initiate tree planting efforts, and we'll come back to that after this call.
Yes, it's me again. Now, when I heard all this excitement about the moringa tree, I said, what were we looking at all the time? My mother grew up with one in our yard. We grew up with one in our yard.
Well, you see,
we basically used to use it to feed the sheep.
Sometimes we don't know the value of things that we have until maybe somewhere along the line somebody from overseas happens to mention something and make it. You know the thing we call noni. You know what we call noni?
And rainfall bush. Rainfall bush.
Yeah, you know what we call noni? Do you know? Are you familiar with the noni? Huh? Are you familiar with the noni?
Yeah, but noni just stink, man.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is that plant was ignored and even rejected in St. Kitts. I remember as a little boy we used to call it Jumbi Soursop, right? Jumbi Soursop, because in other words you look at it, but don't touch that, because that only Jumbis that deal with that. Okay, it looks so sappy and so revolting, literally, to us as kids, and nobody really paid much attention until they began to have this push about the benefits of noni juice, another panacea, good for everything, right? And then all of a sudden we started to pay attention to the noni bush, Okay, but we had it here all the time, but we never paid it any attention until somebody, and they
It's the same moringa. I said, well, what is excitement? Our own was so old that it had like a white, like my brother.
yeah, because the wood is very soft, and so
my
sometimes
brother
the
had
weight
one
would
bag.
take advantage
Let
of
me
it.
give you a joke now. My neighbor, he was hanging out with my neighbor fence. So she asked my brother, Bubba, go up there and break down that branch of me. So he go up there, it is gummy. It's a gummy tree too,
Yeah, it has a sap, a gummy sap.
Right, gum. So he got up there, and he fell out of the tree. So she said, Bubba, take this person and go and buy a pack of Epsom salt. Because, in those days, you get a fall, you got to get either sugar water or Epsom salt.
Yeah.
So in the afternoon, my mother comes, she said, Berna, I beg Bubba go up there and break down the branch, and he fell out of the tree. And I gave him the 5 cents to go and buy it. She said, Bubba, you bought the salt? He said, no, I buy Marby. But the rainfall bush now, they were all over the village.
Yeah, the botanical name for that is Gliricidia sepium, and right now, when you're driving, especially the peninsula, you see them blooming right now.
They used to boil clothes in my days. You take a branch, maybe a small branch or some leaves, and you try it in the boiling water to disinfect the clothes.
Oh, why don't discolor the clothes?
No. It was no Clorox days. You boil your clothes. And when you get babies, they give you a bath. The bath was from the same tree. You get to leave them. They said they'll give you a bath, a healing bath or whatever.
And they use the rainfall tree.
The rainfall. I said, look at that now.
Interestingly, something about the rainfall tree most people don't know is that it's a magnet for hummingbirds.
What?
It's a magnet for hummingbirds. And when it's in bloom, you'll find hummingbirds fighting for territory on the rainfall tree.
Look, it is so pretty. This kind of purple, whitish flowers.
Pinkish, purplish, flower.
Man,
like I say, as you drive the peninsula right now, the Southeast Peninsula Road, they are in bloom lining the road, and it looks so pretty. I was admiring it this morning myself.
We need to plant them all over the place.
Well, they weren't planted on the Southeast Peninsula. They're growing there naturally.
But there was a state too, And they began, people who had animals, right?
Yeah, for those persons who don't know what we're talking about, when you drive the Southeast Peninsula Road next, because a lot of people do it, look for these trees that have this beautiful pink bloom right now. That's what we're talking about, the rainfall tree, Gliricidia sepium.
I remember when I went to a place in Jamaica, other down St. Elizabeth or the next one. You know where Germantown is in Jamaica?
No. I only know the big places like Ocho Rios and Montego Bay and Kingston. And Halfway Tree.
Germans do a lot of pastoring. They call them, I think they call them St. Vincent Birch or something like that. We call rainfall bush.
Okay.
Man, well, it's saying that they had given them to the farmers to tell them, like in droughtish time. You feed the animals with them, they're good at animal feed.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that?
No, but what I'm aware that the farmers used to use that tree for is to plant fences.
Well, yes.
It used to be called the living fence. The living fence, because when you cut a piece of the wood from the rainfall tree and you plant it to make fence posts, most wood, when you cut them, they die. And so after a little while, the wood will begin to rot or be taken over by termites. But the rainfall tree, it actually roots when it's planted as a fence post. It roots and it starts to grow as a tree, and so it never dies because it's a living fence post.
As as animal feed too?
All around. Especially the farmers used to use it to line their plots, to demark their plots, to mark the boundaries of their plots.
All right, then, somebody is calling.
Okay, all right. Thanks for your call. We have another caller? Okay. All right. So I was talking about the tree planting and the SCNCF. I don't know if there's anyone from the SCNCF who might be listening, who might be able to give some input on the tree planting efforts, but I think there's a project that is being funded by that particular organization with regard to tree planting. But I think it's something which we can also introduce into schools and so on, get the children involved from a young age of appreciating the importance of trees, what they mean to not only our food security, but what they also mean to our ecosystems and to land preservation and protection against erosion and wind and so on. So I think if we introduce some kind of, maybe get the children involved in a tree planting exercise, let them appreciate the importance of planting trees and of conserving those trees and making sure that they not only form the basis for what we can enjoy now, but for future generations. All right, so now we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back after.
Attention, St. Kitts and Nevis. Ready to hit the road in style? Hosford's Automotive presents Fat Off Drive On Sales Event. Get up to $15,000 in total savings and much more, including no down payment, free bid of sale, free servicing for 12 months. Choose between $1,000 in groceries or free gas for 3 months, free registration, free licensing, free tinting, free accessories, and more. Don't miss out with 4% fat off. It's never been easier to own your own dream car. These savings and deals happening now. So visit Hosford's Automotive and drive home happy. Hosford's Automotive, where affordability meets the road. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, folks, we're back. And of course, don't forget that you can call us in at 466-0989, 662-0989, 718-285-6984, or 305-921-4619. Give us a call and let us know what your thoughts are and any feedback you may have on our program thus far. Good to have all of you listening, and we hope that you will join us every other week for this program, which is Heritage Matters, a program which we had running for many years in collaboration, the Brimstone Hill Society and the National Trust. But it fell away, and so now we're trying to revive it. And hopefully, this is the first program, we only got very short notice of it coming into being, so we didn't have a lot to prepare, but so far I think we're doing well. So I think we have a call on the line, so let's hear from this caller.
Good morning, Mr. Hanley. How are you, sir?
I'm not bad, and how are you?
I'm blessed, highly favored, and giving thanks.
That is wonderful.
Best wishes to you, your family, and your organization for the new year.
Thank you much, and same to you.
I think it was last week I had a conversation with somebody about the same coconut issues.
Yes.
I vividly remember the vast number of coconut trees over at the Gibbons pasture.
Correct. Uh-huh.
Whether going there to picnic down at the
Gibbons
area,
pasture, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or actually passing it.
Yeah.
taking a drive through the island.
It was an awesome sight. All these coconut trees. I mean, it was. I can't even say hundreds. It had to be thousands of coconut trees there.
Exactly. Coconut trees can done.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when the entrepreneurs who actually envisioned that sort of small business, some youngsters from St. Paul's,
Mm-hmm.
they were the ones who I could recall first started selling these jellies.
Yeah, okay.
The bottle thing wasn't there. It was just the regular cut and drink a jelly, put it to your head, drink a jelly, etc.
Or stick a straw in it.
No. Well, I think the sticker straw probably came a little later. Down.
Yeah, more from a tourism point of view, yeah.
Yeah. But for the local man, you cut it, put it to your head, you drink it.
And you drink, yeah.
But what's the way is money is for...
Coconut water running down your face into your neck and your shirt.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was to raise money is for school supplies or for the football club, etc. Just a means for living.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a few guys. I can't remember. Maybe somebody from St. Paul's might be able to say who actually came up with that idea, who started doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was after a hurricane. I don't know if it's Hugo or David. One of those, 79, 89, I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But one hurricane did some devastation, and then I think the other one probably did the rest, completed it. And from the 80s until now, it's unfortunate that no one really saw the prudence in planting, like you say. Even if you were to plant one coconut tree for 3 months every year, we probably would have had the thousands back there.
Yeah, yeah. Like I say, for every maybe, I said 100 before, but maybe if you think one coconut out of every 50, plant it.
Exactly.
You know, and because it costs you literally nothing to plant one coconut out of 50, because you're making a lot of money on the 50, but you are securing the future of coconut supply by planting at least one every so often.
And remember, some of the nuts would drop, and then they develop as well into trees.
That's right. And you'd see sometimes you'd be walking along the road and you'll see some of the local farmers with a coconut seedling in his hand to carry somewhere to plant. Also, notice what used to happen too. The estates, of course we don't have those anymore, but the estates, they would line their driveways to the estate with coconut trees.
Coconut trees, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Sides of the coconut.
Yeah.
And those were the areas where you had very extremely tall coconut trees.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think the technology exists by grafting, grooming, whatever, to produce shorter trees.
The trees start bearing from much early, because I remember when I built my house, I planted a coconut tree in my yard, and it was producing coconuts that my children could reach from the ground.
Exactly,
right?
Wonderful.
Bunches of coconut. Is that orange coconut? That's very sweet one. It had coconuts profusely bearing from the time it was producing coconuts about 3 and 4 feet off the ground.
Indeed, midget coconuts as they're called. The thing about it, I remember umpiring at the Leeward Islands, well, not the Leeward Islands, the West Indies level.
Mm-hmm.
Being standby for Leeward games, Jamaica, etc. I'm going to win with 2 umpires conventions. There was a gentleman, an umpire from Jamaica. His name is Thomas Wilson. May his soul rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
He worked for the Jamaican government, but his job was just to investigate coconut.
The
way to plant coconut, grafting coconut, what products you could get from coconut, be it the shell, be it the meal, be it
the copra,
the meat, be it the water, be it the branches.
Right.
And the government back then in Jamaica, they was just spending money and experimenting. And I don't believe coconut was all they were doing. I'm thinking it's a beautiful opportunity for our agricultural department here to expand and get into that area. It may very well start. We made a contribution and some time ago on this. It's wonderful that Taiwan increased the number of sponsorships they're giving us to 25, I think. We also have how many coming from Cuba? 10, 15. That's 40, for example. Plus, we're getting another one here, one there. So maybe we're getting 50 scholarships ever so often. I don't know if it's annually, but out of those, my argument is we need to diversify. We just can't send people to do law and medicine and engineering and architecture. Yes, that's important. But we also need to send our people to study in the arts, drama, music, dancing, etc., poetry, in sports as well. Sports administration, what do you call them? Trainers and
Coaches
masseuse and all of those, as well as agriculture in these kind of investigative areas.
Yeah.
Because if we really want to be self-sufficient, we can't be expecting to do the same thing and getting a different result.
That's right.
And I am really urging the government, and I compliment them highly on the bills they passed yesterday, that traffic thing. I think it was really super. And on island to this morning, no matter what penalties you have in place, if you don't break the law, it doesn't matter to you. You won't be affected by it.
That's right.
So you don't have to worry if the fine is $20,000.
It's only those people who intend to break it who will have to make a noise.
Exactly. So if you can't drive about 40 hours, if you drive 40 miles an hour, this is what's going to happen. Then you just don't drive about 40 miles an hour. And then whether the fine is 50,000 or 20 years, it won't affect you. Simple as that. But I urge them really to consider getting our people going off for scholarships in the sporting area, sports administration, what have you, in the arts as well as agriculture, and in the investigative part of agriculture. What do you call it here? The people turning guavas and mangoes into confectionaries and that sort of
Agro-processing.
What processing, yes. Get our people qualified in that. And then we'll be able to move towards reducing the import bill. Because when you look at it, how many vendors we have around Bastia? We have one up the factory road. We have about 5 on the strip, one down by Fisheries, one cross Frigate Bay Road, one up by Eastern Benevolent Society. So we have about 10 people selling jellies. And of these 10, I suspect probably 80% of them come in from St. Vincent, Dominica, wherever they come from every Monday.
That's right.
And sometimes, by the time you go on Thursdays to buy whether the water or the meat or whatever, they tell you, sorry, I out of stock. You got to wait until next week when the boat comes.
When the boat come again.
So it goes back to what...
And that tells you how popular it is and what kind of consumption we have. That they get hundreds of bags of coconuts every week, and they all disappear. Exactly. But the next thing I will have to say on that is the dumping, and I would like the solid waste or whoever authorities in that about the dumping of these coconuts. And I have to say, I know of areas in the what we call the Bastia Valley, the Royal Bastia Valley National Park, the bush between there. They drive their trucks between there and they dump the coconut husks inside there. I believe that they should be monitored and policed a little more to ensure that when they have cut and opened their coconuts each time, that they properly dispose of them. It's biodegradable, but it looks like an awful sight when you're dumping it every day, and you're getting a huge, stockpile of these discarded coconut husks. We have another caller, Mr. Mills. So if you can wrap up your point. Oh, okay. All right, caller. Hello, good day, caller.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. I'm back.
Yes.
I'm the first caller.
Thank you.
But I just listened to the disposal of the coconut shell. And it happens. And it also happens in the same community, my community in the town, where I think it's being policed, but it should be embedded in conscious-minded persons to dispose your waste in an amicable way to the landscape. Because one thing you're disposing, another thing is that you're disposing by you're creating another hazard.
Yeah.
the hazard in which is the mosquitoes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a breeding ground.
Yeah, because the
And let me show you
upturned
that
shells will catch rainwater, and the mosquitoes will find it's an excellent place to, because it's private, it's hidden and it's concealed, and nothing can get in there to trouble the larva.
Yes, not only that, those who expose it or dispose of the garbage in an irresponsible way, most times they don't even live in that community, and no one should want to go into any other community and, disrupt the ecosystem,
Mm-hmm.
so that it will make it a hazard for the residents of that community or those communities.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but the moringa tree, we will more appreciate it, Mr. Hanley, because there are other persons, the migration to think it, and you'll find other persons from other culture will use it for other benefits.
That's right.
We will use it for probably the green leaf, the brewing of the tea, or the dry leaf. But persons
And
use
some
it
people use
as,
the seeds from the seed pod.
yes, as a vegetable, like the seed, like the way we would put rice and beans.
Yes.
They use it as a green bean.
Mm-hmm.
So they will pick they're not the mature one, but they will pick them at a certain stage within their development.
Mm-hmm.
The beans itself.
So they're like
Especially
green
the
beans. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the Oriental Indians, because I see them all the time do that.
Mm-hmm.
So the cross-cultural exchange within the way our cuisines, we can borrow, we can extrapolate from other cultures as to what is the purpose, what was the use of this tree, what you was brought up with.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to be derived, but Mr. Hanley, we want to concentrate, and I'm all for it. Identifying the verges, what type of trees is best fit for those verges. We know the coconut, definitely. Breadfruit.
Do you have a group? Do you have a group that you work with?
No.
Because if you had a group, you could initiate that kind of project, and we'll help you spread the news and get people join in to start that tree planting effort.
This is where a forum like this was able to get the word out.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, we will get up in age. I will do a little thing here and there, but I'm not so agile anymore like others. So we should get the youngsters on board who will, and when the time comes, they will benefit from it, because they're not going to stay small forever. They will mature and produce and bear fruit. And they will be the ones to benefit from, like the coconut and other fruits. So
Yeah.
I am all for it. If we get a group and we identify the other areas, like for instance, the closest verges, the gut sides to me, will be like going west and probably going north, like Keys Gut,
Mm-hmm.
and you go around it. And we start to plant those gut sides, those verges.
Mm-hmm.
We're not clearing the foliage so that when it rains, we create like where it creates a landslide. We're just digging the culvert, the hole, and we're planting coconut palms 2-3 feet away from each other, what have you. Enough for each plant to breed and spread.
Yeah.
Grow up. We're not playing all the foliage to create another hazard, but in order to do many things at the same time, simultaneously.
Yeah, I understand that.
So
Yeah. But it'd be nice if you can start the effort, since you're highly interested. Start lobbying a few people that you know who are interested, and start that effort. And then each one of the people you contact might know 2, 3, 5 other people that can come into the loop and spread the word.
I'll tell you, Mr. Hanley.
Say again?
It's it is ironic to say this, but I tell you what, there are some people are laid back. They're not into building a foundation. I guarantee you I can get 3, 4 Vincentian or Guyanese who are more so willing than our people. Trust me. Because their background is agriculture.
Exactly, but
Vincentian,
our
Guyanese.
background is the supermarket.
It is ingrained in their DNA. And they will be the more willing ones to really come on board. And probably we will just inspire others to get on board. But it will take, we take a kind of look back, wait back, and we look back. It happens in all of our spheres of even our governance, where we look back to see what's best practice from whatever other islands before we could introduce it. And we need to be more proactive.
And then we can become the example that others will follow.
Yes. But we have to start, I have started, like I said, with the moringa trees, and we will have to start because we need it.
Okay, think of some others and let's get moving on that.
I see you were thinking of, you're a man of influence. I know you. When I see you, we'll have a chat. You're a man of influence. All the notes that you have jotted down, take it to the other level for me. Let's each one teach one. Let each one have one language. Because these verges need to be utilized with fruit trees. I appreciate Mr. Percival Hanley with his mangoes when I used to attend the Basia High School, senior high school. That's how I grew up and go healthy. Eating from others, which I did not plant. So how could I be so selfish?
And there used to be a culture. There used to be a culture where, you know, people always planted their backyards. Nowadays, people only want a lawn and some decorative plants. But before, people, the first thing you want to do when you got a house or a piece of land is to plant some fruit trees. But guess what? You might have sourshops. I can have mangoes. Somebody might have sugar apples. And everybody exchange. I bring you some of my mangoes, you give me some of your soursop, and then you carry your soursop to somebody else and they give you sugar apple. And you had an exchange of fruits.
I so appreciate it. Mr. Leonard Stapleton, at his last researchers course seminar down at the Kuna building, Mr. Leonard spoke about they're doing the battles with neighbor. I have a pumpkin. You had the pumpkin, your farm, and you had the meat. You know, the exchange, and everybody, all the families live.
Yes.
Again.
Yeah. So we can do that. We're gonna break now for a commercial break. So I understand your point, and we're gonna challenge you to work on it, and let me know. You say when you meet me next.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Okay, and we're back. And so far, I want to thank all those persons who have called in and who have shared their thoughts and their suggestions on this program. And we want to keep that going because what I'm hoping to do here is to excite people to become a part of our culture and our heritage, and our nation will be stronger and better for it. Ignoring that is like ignoring the foundation of our nation. So I encourage everyone to be conscious of their history, their heritage, and their culture, I'm going to make a little diversion here now because there has been a topic that I've been asked a lot about recently. Nothing to do with culture and heritage, but it's to do with astronomy, let's call it that. There was a lot of excitement on the internet and so on about the alignment of planets. And so people have been asking me, what about this alignment? What are we going to see? And so on and so on and so on. It was slated that on the 25th of January, which is now past, you would see the planets lined up in the sky. When most people ask me about it, I would tell them that always happens. But the hoopla is because it's not always that you will see all of the what I call naked eye planets lined up in the sky. And so during this month, almost for the entire month, depending on what time you looked, you could see the naked eye planets. And those naked eye planets are Mars, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn. You could see them with the naked eye, not needing a telescope. There are two other planets in the mix, but though you can't see them with a telescope. That's Neptune and Uranus. But for those people who want to try to find them, because people have asked me, how can I find these planets? Normally when people look up into the sky, they don't realize that they are looking not just at stars. There are lots of other things in the sky. And many people, when, for example, they would ask me, what's that object over there, that bright object? And I would call the name of a planet. They'd be like, really? I didn't know we can see planets, right? But we can, okay? They come across the sky. In fact, the ancients used to see them and they recognized that there were these objects that went across the sky at a totally different rate than the normal stars that they saw. The stars were constant in their position and in their movement, but these particular objects, they saw them moving completely different to the normal stars, and so they actually call them wandering stars. And I think it was a Greek word, or I don't know if it's Greek or Arabic, but that planeta, or whatever that was, that created the word planet, which meant wandering star. In other words, these were stars that moved different to the other stars. Now, from our knowledge of the sky and astronomy, we now know them as planets, okay? Similar to our Earth that orbit the sun. So if you want to find out about the alignment of planets and you want to see them, come out in the evenings about, say, 7 p.m., as early after the sun sets as possible, and look towards the east. When you look, well, no, let's start with the west. Let's start with the west. Look towards the west where the sun has just set, okay? And you will see a very bright object in the sky. That is the planet Venus. Venus, our sister planet, very, very bright. And just below it and to the left, you'll see a much fainter object, but it's distinct. Fainter, much fainter than Venus, but distinct. That's Saturn, planet Saturn. You're seeing Saturn. Then come up into just above overhead, and you'll see another very bright object that are almost directly overhead at that time of night, and that is Jupiter. The largest planet in our solar system, that is Jupiter. If you are able to find either a small telescope or even a binoculars, you might actually be able to make out some of these moons around it. Okay? That's Jupiter. And then continue across towards the east now, and you'll see a bright, one of the brighter objects, not as bright as Jupiter or Venus, but another bright object, but it has a reddish color. A reddish color. And everyone knows the red planet, Mars. Right? So right there, starting in the west, you will see Saturn, below bright Venus, and then you will see Jupiter right up in the middle of the sky, and going more towards the east, you will see a reddish planet. And notice that they're all in a line. If you were to take a line from the first one you saw, Saturn through Venus, through Jupiter, through Mars, you'll notice that it forms a straight, if there's such a word, straight arc across the sky. Okay? And that's what is referred to as that alignment. So you're seeing 4 naked eye planets at one time in the sky. That will continue for our next maybe couple of weeks, but each night everything is going to move a little further west, and eventually you'll find that Saturn will disappear at that time of evening. So you got to make sure you see it now, because within the next couple of weeks Saturn will be below the horizon by the time the sun sets. So make use of that opportunity to look for these planets. Repeat: Saturn, Venus, Jupiter, and Mars. Okay, I hope that satisfies a lot of people who have been calling me, and those who have not yet but probably want to see this alignment of planets. And so I just want to close now by saying thank all of you for listening. And we're going to try and make this program interesting. Of course, each session we're going to have different topics. And if anyone has any suggestions for topics that they want to hear talked about or discussed relating to history, heritage, and maybe even some other things about nature and so on, give me a call and let me know what your thoughts are, and we can fit it in, because we want to make the program one that you will enjoy, and therefore I know that dealing with topics that you are interested in would make it that way. So thank you once again for joining us and being a part of Heritage Matters, and we encourage you to continue to look after our history, because as we say, heritage matters to me, heritage matters to you, and therefore heritage matters. Thank you for listening. Goodbye. We'll now hear from our sponsors.